When I was a teenager, I was constantly in tattoo shops. My dad and my brother are covered in tattoos, and I knew when I turned 18 that I wanted to get a tattoo right away. And I did, but I made some mistakes and ended up regretting the tattoo and eventually getting it covered up. And the sad part is, most teenagers, when they go and get tattoos, this very thing happens to them as well. They end up getting a bad tattoo and then they regret it. And look, it really does suck when you don't know how to go about getting a tattoo. Whether you're a teenager, minor, young adult, or whatever, I don't want this to happen to you. So me, I'm going to advise you to getting your first tattoo a little bit later on when you get a little bit older. First, let me explain. In the US, you need to be 18 years or older to legally get a tattoo here. And that's a standard. Now, I know other places around the world, they do have different age requirements to get a tattoo, but most of the time it is 18 years or older. Now, if you are under the age of 18, you do need a parent or legal guardian to sign off on that tattoo that you want to get. Now, let's say, for example, you're in the US, you're under 18, and you decide to go to a tattoo shop. You walk in, and the front desk people, they don't ask you your age, or the tattoo artist doesn't ask you their age. They're just willing to tattoo you. If they do this, do an about face and walk out the door because you don't want to be in that situation. This may sound great if you're a teenager that wants to get a tattoo and the shop's willing to do it with no questions asked. But in reality, if the shop does this, this means that they're not by the book at all. They're only there to take your money and they don't do things legally. And they're probably not a good tattoo artist after all anyway, because again, they're just trying to get your money. All right, so remember earlier I said my first tattoo was the one that I regretted and then got covered up? Well, it was this one right here. Some script going right across my face, and even my second tattoo I kind of regret. I got it from another tattoo artist, and it was this one right here. Looking back at these tattoos, I do wish that my teenage brain put a little bit more thought into it and did the research to actually find a great tattoo artist. Because neither one of these two that did these tattoos, they weren't that good. Like, yeah, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I just wanted to look tattooed. I was seeing all my friends, family members, and celebrities have these awesome tattoos, and I just wanted that look so bad. But I really didn't understand, like, what a good quality tattoo was. And me being a teenager, like all teenagers do, we tend to make impulse decisions. So what I did was, I went and I ran right to a tattoo shop. I didn't do any research on the artist or the shop itself. And I just kind of had a little bit of an idea of what I wanted, and I just went to the first tattoo artist that would tattoo me, really. And I ended up making a big mistake, and a lot of teenagers do this. And if you are a teenager that decides to do that very thing that I did, it's pretty much a recipe for tattoo regret, and nobody wants to live with tattoo regret because it sucks. It just does. Like I mentioned, teenagers, we tend to not really know anything about tattoos. We're younger. We just know a tattoo is a tattoo, and that's pretty much all we know about them. We don't know about the different type of styles. We don't really know much about how to decide like quality and like what's a quality tattoo. And also, I mean, back when I was a teenager, I really didn't have anyone to actually give me ideas on how to research these things. And that is one of the reasons why I made this channel. So please make sure you do your research, at least a little bit of research on the shop and the artist. You don't even need to have a concrete idea on what you want to get as a tattoo. Just make sure you're researching the artist, the shop, and make sure that you actually love their work, and of course that they're clean, because you don't want to go anywhere dirty, because then you end up having a bunch of different problems. So with that out of the way, one of the main reasons why I would suggest a teenager waiting to get their first tattoo is because, let's say you're between the age of 15 to 20. Well, chances are you're still growing and your skin is still stretching. Right now you might be saying, okay, so what? Well, I have heard horror stories where people would get their tattoos at, say, 18 years old, for example, and then now that they're 30, 40 years old, their tattoo got all stretched and disformed, looking like it got put through the taffy puller at Willy Wonka's.
So I think we'll put him in my special taffy pulling machine. That should do the trick.
My brother, for example, at the age of 19, decided to get a dragon right on his forearm. Now, if you were to look at it right now, he's about 41 years old. That thing is totally jacked and moved all over the place. It's like the tattoo from SpongeBob. It's actually like right around here now. It went from his forearm to like around this area. It's crazy. Seriously though, if you decide to get a tattoo while you're still growing and your skin is stretching, it may look good now, but when you get older, that thing is definitely gonna move and it's just gonna look jacked up. So just keep that in mind. Oh, and another reason why I would suggest teenagers to wait to get their first tattoo is because, you know, as a teenager, at least me and most teenagers out there, we don't have a lot of money to be spending on quality tattoos. With tattoos, you definitely get what you pay for. You never want to be that person that just settles for less for something that's going to be permanent on your body just to say you got a tattoo, because it's never gonna look good. I recommend stacking your money up just so you could go and get that well-executed tattoo, because let's face it, if you do it this way, you're gonna end up being happier in the long run. Another reason why I would recommend teenagers to wait to get a tattoo is because typically teenagers, when it comes to tattoos, they get them for the wrong reasons. Maybe you want one to look cool. Maybe you want one because all your friends have one. Maybe you want a tattoo just to look a little bit more tougher. And hey, if you want a tattoo for any one of those reasons, that's totally fine. It's your body. If you have a tattoo idea in your head, just sit on it for a little bit. Think it over. Think to yourself and say, is this something that I'm actually going to want on my body for the rest of my life? Because us as human beings, we're constantly evolving and constantly changing. Something that we might like now, we might not even care for later down the line. So you really want to make sure whatever tattoo you decide to get, you know you'll always love. I can honestly say that the first tattoo that I've ever got, I actually loved for like the first year. And then afterwards, I was like, why the f did I get this? But then I covered it up with this badass chest piece that I absolutely love. So we're all good. All right, now I want you to picture a fictional character. And this fictional character name is Teen Timmy. Teen Timmy knows what he wants to get as his first tattoo. He did his research and he's 18 years old, so he can legally get inked if he wants. Well, Teen Timmy, that is all great, but even though tattoos are becoming more acceptable to society, there is some workplaces that still frown upon having visible tattoos. And I get it, right now as a teenager, you might not even know what type of career path you want to go down. But just know that if you get those visible tattoos, it can limit your options of where you work at. It's really important to think about the long term when it comes to getting something as permanent as a tattoo. I know when I was a teenager, the last thing I was thinking about was like actually having a real job, but I'm just letting you know this because I'm here to educate you. And something else that I quickly just want to touch on that I really don't hear anybody talking about either, but this actually came from a couple of tattoo artists. Teenagers, I'm sure you know that tattoos can be painful and you have the chance of getting a tattoo infection, right? But did you know when you're younger and a teenager, for example, that your immune system might not be fully developed yet, and that alone can make you get a tattoo infection more easily? Well, yes, it is a fact according to some of the tattoo artists I talked to, and I'm telling you this not to scare you, but you just need to make sure that if you go and get that tattoo, that you're on top of your tattoo healing game. The more on top of it you are, the better chance you have of not getting an infection and a better looking tattoo in the long run. So I personally recommend you checking out this video right here on how I perfectly heal all my tattoos with no complications. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.